Are we live? Wait a second. Wait a second. It's Saturday live already? Wait, what? It's the end of the week? What is going on here? More delays? Am I reading that correctly? Who made this thumbnail? What is going on here? What's up, guys? It's Mike, a guy who loves Star Wars. Another Saturday night live stream. Saturday late evening live stream? I don't know. Live stream on Saturday. Okay. 4 o'clock again today. Just whatever. Just smash a like on the video, okay? We're going to get into all of this. The writer's strike, the Screen Actors Guild strike, all of it could lead to more delays for Star Wars. All of it impacts Star Wars in a big, big way. And Robert Iger is still out here talking it out of his ass. So we're going to get into all of it. We're going to talk about all of it. And we're going to probably get a little bit mad because it's a little bit ridiculous. And yeah. We'll talk about all of it, okay? But right off the bat, let's ask the class. Let's ask the class. What do you guys think about this whole Screen Actors Guild strike? First of all, what do you guys really even know about the Screen Actors Guild strike? Do you realize that Hollywood completely is shut down right now? There's nothing being made. Every movie that was in the works, every show that was in the works has completely come to a standstill because actors and writers can no longer work because they are both on strike and both on the picket lines, meaning they are not working at all because their contracts are up and they are getting screwed. Now we're going to talk about how they're getting screwed by the Hollywood studios, how these big heads in Hollywood are just being jackasses pretty much, and how Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, is one of the biggest ones. And we're going to talk about how not only should Kathleen Kennedy be fired, but we need a replacement for Robert Iger. Now this guy has been around for plenty long enough. I think it's time he talk about Austin first in today says how much money does Bob Iger need to leave Disney? Well, I'm guessing it's a whole lot because he just signed a contract extension. Are we lagging a little bit? I think we're good. He just signed a big ass extension where he's going to be getting paid, I think, $27 million this year, and just more and more and more for the next 4 years to come. So yeah, he's getting paid. Yeah, it's ridiculous. These writers are trying to scrap and claw for an extra couple $1,000s while Bob Iger's sitting up there making $30 million a year. It's ridiculous. Honey Badger says, thank the Force that Ahsoka is already done filming and is on the way. But in the words of Michael Scott, no, God, please, no delays. The delays seem inevitable. Not to quote Thanos or anything, but they do seem inevitable unless these strikes end quickly. Now, let's get into what the strikes mean. The writer's strike has been going on, I think today is day 75. So it's been going on for months and months now. And the writers, sure, they affect, of course, the writing of products in Hollywood. Stuff is not being written. It really affects like The Mandalorian Season 4 that hasn't begun filming yet. It's still in the writing stages. It affects those types of projects that are in the beginning stages, that are being written, like the Rey movie, or even Dave Filoni's movie, or even James Mangold's movie. Those movies have yet to be written, so they won't be written because there's no writers. Now, the Screen Actors Guild going on strike is a completely different thing. The Screen Actors are the actors, and they act in the product. So things that have been written that are in the middle of filming, like Deadpool 3, like Andor Season 2, like they say that some of the Acolyte might have some filming here and there going on. That kind of stuff has come to a complete halt now that the actors are on strike. The both of them being on strike at the same time means nothing gets done at all. Nothing gets filmed, nothing gets written, nothing's in pre-production, nothing's in current production, and nothing is in post-production because the actors are done. There's no press, there's no conventions. Even like Dune just pulled out of Comic-Con because the actors can't go to it. Like all of this, the actors are striking, meaning they're not coming to anything. No red carpets, no nothing. So everything in Hollywood has come to a standstill. all these movies that we're looking forward to, all these shows that we're looking forward to, whether it be with Marvel, Star Wars, Warner Brothers, whoever, they're not happening. They're at a complete standstill, and they are not happening. Now, this affects Star Wars in a big, big way, because first of all, the Ahsoka show is right around the corner. Whether there'll be press for that remains to be seen. Whether or not we'll see Rosario Dawson going around talking about it doesn't look too good. But if this strike comes to an end, then pretty much everything goes back to normal. The writers will still be on strike, of course, and that won't go back to normal, but there will, at some point, be a conclusion to that strike as well, and everything will go back to normal. However, we don't know when either of these strikes are going to end, and as of right now, there is no end in sight. So maybe Ahsoka doesn't get any press. Maybe Skeleton Crew doesn't get any press. Maybe the Acolyte show doesn't get any press, and then maybe the Andor show doesn't even get made. The Mandalorian Season 4 doesn't get made. The Rey movie doesn't get made. Dave Filoni's movie doesn't get made. Or, at least, extremely delayed. So we're looking at a bad time right now in Hollywood, to say the least, and things could go south very, 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 very quickly. Austin says, how many times do we have to get Bob Iger out of there? At least two. At least two, Austin. It doesn't matter how much money, it's about the good content. I have a bad feeling that Kathleen Kennedy will come back. Honestly, I get a bad feeling about it too. Kathleen Kennedy, the rumors of her being fired over the last few weeks were ramping up until the actors went on strike. Now all of that has come to a standstill, just like the whole Hollywood studios, and Kathleen Kennedy, the word of her leaving is still not happening. Bob Iger's just been extended. Like, it seems as though we are in a very dark place right now. Very, very dark place right now. So, yeah. So let's read one of these. I just bit my tongue. Let's read one of these articles right now that talks about how Bob Iger has said that they're going to stop doing slow down projects at Lucasfilm and Marvel, and how they're actually going to stop giving out so many projects each year because it costs way too much money. We kind of talked about this a little bit on Thursday, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more here, and how this affects Star Wars because of the actors' strike. Because Bob Iger's not really referring to the actors' strike when he's talking about this. He's just talking about what Disney's doing in general. The actors' strike adds a whole nother layer to all of this, so let's read it up. Hang on one sec. What the heck? Smash a gosh darn like on this video while I get this pulled up. One sec. There we go. There we go. That's much better. Boom. Disney immediately ceases Star Wars and Marvel content moving forward. According to CEO Bob Iger, boo. Okay. Disney has announced to begin reducing its output of Star Wars and Marvel content effective immediately. So we talked about this a little bit on Thursday, but we're going to go a deep dive into this. Bob Iger to remain the Disney CEO through 2026 and more. So Bob Iger was supposed to come back for 2 years, fix the company, and then find himself a replacement. That's not happening. He's on till at least 2026. So, Disney's CEO Bob Iger recently sat down in an interview where was announced he would return as CEO of the company through 2026. His original contract had him remaining as CEO through 2025, but Disney board members voted to keep him through the end of 2026. So although that sounds like 1 year, it is technically 2. According to numerous reports, this came as big news as Walt Disney World Resort is currently experiencing a dip in the theme park attendance. Now, there's one thing that Disney has done correctly through all of this, and that is their theme parks. They have had very good attendance when it comes to the theme parks, almost consistently rising back up since, of course, the pandy happened. But there has been a dip in the theme park attendance. In the new CNN CNBC's Squawk Box interview last Thursday morning, Iger confirmed that he was not worried about the drop in theme park attendance. Iger was also fired back at Governor Ron DeSantis after the Florida governor claimed that Disney was... We don't have to read any of that. That's just a whole nother issue that we don't really have to talk about. Iger also discussed that Disney's parks, calling them sublime, even though they were in an ongoing battle between park attendance and guest experience at Walt Disney World Resort. Iger also mentioned in an interview how his beloved Disney Channel might be getting canceled, regarding desiring to pull resources elsewhere. Amidst all the news and information released from the discussion out of the mouth of the official CEO of Disney, some significant news also dropped during the interview in the form of Iger mentioning the immediate halt of Marvel and Star Wars content in the future. Here's what we know. So, Bob Iger confirms less Star Wars and Marvel content to be produced in the future. During the interview with Squawk Box, Disney CEO Bob Iger reconfirmed that the company will be spending less on what they make and making less. Again, we talked about this a little bit on Thursday, but we're going way more in depth on this. They are making less product so that they can spend less money. Here's the thing. When you're a gigantic company like Disney, you should not be having the problems that they are. They are losing money, millions of dollars every month. Now, this should not be the problem when you own two of the biggest IPs on the planet right now in Marvel and Star Wars, two of the most easily profitable IPs on the planet in Star Wars and Marvel. All you have to do is just keep doing what you saw worked. In the case of Marvel, they made $25 billion in 10 years. Somebody fact check me on that. $25 billion in 10 years. Maybe they should keep doing that instead of making 11 projects every year instead of the 2 that came before. 11 projects a year for Marvel is way too many. And you're spending way too much money on those products. So just from afar, this idea sounds like a good idea. However, when you dive deep into it, this problem should never have occurred in the first place. When you have these two gigantic companies, two gigantic science fiction media sources that people, fans, ourselves love so much, it shouldn't be that difficult to make money, especially with Star Wars. Star Wars is one of the most profitable companies, or IPs, I should say, in the world. Disney bought it for $4 billion before The Force Awakens even came out, before the first product that they made as Disney Star Wars came out. They made that $4 billion back in merchandise. Think about that. $4 billion in merchandise in less than 3 years. What are they doing over there? How could they possibly be losing money? It's literally mind-blowing to me. I don't understand it. But I read on. All right. Iger was firmly asked whether or not he meant that Disney would be pulling back from Star Wars and Marvel, and Iger's response was yes. From the official interview with Squawk Box, Iger had this to say about the future comments on Star Wars and Marvel content. He said, "Yup, and pull back. Not just a focus, but it's also a part of our cost containment initiative. Spending less on what we make and making less." So there's a cost containment initiative going on at Disney. They're trying to cut costs. Now, we saw this go on with Warner Brothers to start this year off. Warner Brothers is kind of in a deeper spot than Disney is. However, both companies are losing an insane amount of money. I think Disney might have just a little bit more. It is a whole shit show over at Disney right now. And the fact that they're losing this much money, the fact that they were supposed to bring back Bob Iger in November to help save the company, and honestly, we are in worse spot now than ever. Their last movie being Indiana Jones, that of course did horrible, made very little money. I don't think it's even crossed the threshold of making money. It's still at a loss right now. The movie before that was Elemental for them, which is the lowest Pixar movie ever. And then the one before that was Guardians 3, I'm guessing, which actually did fairly well. Ant-Man Quantumania did poorly. Strange New Worlds was the biggest flop in history. Disney's had it rough over the last couple 6 to 8 months. It's been rough. It's been really, really rough. So Bob Iger, maybe not the solution to Bob Chapek, but we read on. This response comes at a time confusing the fan base. As at this year's Star Wars celebration, more Star Wars films would be on the way through 2026. Although the announcements of some new shows coming soon to Disney Plus in the coming days, Disney might address these statements to clarify more and bring a non-divisive approach to this news. So let's break it. Let's break this all down. At Star Wars Celebration at the end of April, we were told that we were getting so much more Star Wars content. 3 new movies. The Ahsoka show, the Skeleton Crew show, the Acolyte show, Tales of the Jedi Season 2, Bad Batch Season 3, Andor Season 2, Mandalorian Season 4. So many more projects, whatever you want to call them, for Star Wars. Like, we got a ton of announcements. Then, a few short months later, we get the news from the CEO of Disney that they are slowing down making these products. They are going to spend less and make less. Well, which is it? Are we getting 3 movies? Are we getting 3, 4, 5 shows a year still? Or is everything we heard at Star Wars Celebration just a big old lie? Think about it. The Rey movie. I'm pretty sure everybody in this chat right now would be perfectly okay if the Rey movie got canceled. The Dawn of the Jedi movie. James Mangold just delivered the biggest flop for an Indiana Jones movie in Dial of Destiny, and it doesn't seem like he will be kept around for much longer, along with Kathleen Kennedy, hopefully. And then Dave Filoni's movie. I'm sure everybody here would be absolutely devastated if Dave Filoni's movie got canceled, but maybe they just keep one movie. Maybe they dial it back to just one movie of the 3 that they announced 2 months ago. And what about the shows? Disney Plus is in the same conversations that Warner Brothers was in a few weeks ago, where they might be selling their content. Meaning Disney Plus shows like, let's say, a Marvel show like WandaVision, for example. Or let's keep it Star Wars. The Mandalorian might go to Netflix. Now, this is just a hypothetical, but these are what are in the talks right now. If Netflix is willing to pay Disney money to get The Mandalorian onto Netflix's streaming platform, that's what they're going to do. Pretty much making Disney Plus useless. This is a very dark time. A very dark time in the company of Disney. And it could go very south very fast. But I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys think. Swagger Like Us, what's up? Swagger says, I'm so glad Ahsoka is not affected. Hopefully Skeleton Crew isn't as well. As far as we know, Swagger, Skeleton Crew is done filming. It's probably in post-production, so it should be fine. But still, with the actors' strike, media, press tours, red carpets, all that is affected. Because they're not going to cross the picket lines. They're not going to go to these events because the Hollywood studios set them up, because these actors are all on strike. So maybe there's just no press for these shows. I really, really hope that this strike is over and done with very, very soon, at least before the Ahsoka show, so that we can have the press go on. Seeing Rosario Dawson go on the press tours, and of course Natasha and all those other characters, will be awesome, and we get to cover that here. So that's a lot of fun stuff. But if there's still a writer's strike, and an actor's strike going on at that time, it's not happening. It's not. Austin Snow says, Ahsoka is my 3rd favorite Jedi. Behind who? Behind who? 3rd favorite Jedi. Well, she is no Jedi. But, yeah, I get what you mean. Swagger follows up and says, I support the writer's strike, but the actors are doing it is just greedy. Well, the actors actually have good motive to do it. There's a lot in their contract that they want to work out, but I do think that they should be able to come to a agreement a lot quicker than the writers should. Here's the thing. the actors, what they were trying to pitch to these actors was like, oh, if you come in and film for like 20 minutes, your whole face, and then sign this thing, we can use your likeliness for the rest of time. Meaning they could use Harrison Ford after he dies for the rest of time. And he wouldn't see a penny of it, his family wouldn't see a penny of it, and all of that would have been worked into their new contract. So obviously they had to get that out of there, and they extended their date back 12 days, whatever, to try to fix that, and it didn't happen. So the strike, there are some things in their contract, their new contract that they're trying to work out, that does make sense. But I think it's just common sense kind of stuff. Like, this strike should be over within a matter of hours, not days and weeks and whatever. You know? Although I do think they're greedy, I think there are some people who have a point. Honey Badger says, look, Elemental looks like Inside Out knockoff, and I swear Indiana Jones did bad on purpose so we could get KK out. I think all of this is roughly needed for Disney and Star Wars alike. I don't think it's needed. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy getting the can would be ideal for us Star Wars fans. I think she still will. I hope she still will. I pray every night before I go to bed that she will. But I think Star Wars is in a perfect spot right now. I think when you look at other properties at Disney, like Pixar, like their animated stuff, like even Marvel, Star Wars is in a better spot than all of them. Marvel has the last few years to back them up, of course, having Infinity War and Endgame being bigger than anything Star Wars has done recently. But over the last couple of years, Star Wars hasn't beat. The Mandalorian Season 2, even the Kenobi show, even Mando Season 3, even Tales of the Jedi, even the Ahsoka show coming out this year. Star Wars is in the best spot of all of Disney's properties. I just don't see why they aren't putting more eggs into that basket and getting rid of Kathleen Kennedy. Swagger Like Us says, I have a bad feeling that the future of Disney Plus will eventually be canceled. If this strike persists longer, the horizon looks very bleak. Yeah, Disney Plus might be a thing of the past, which is insanity. This is the streaming platform with the most amount of subscribers. And it might not exist soon. It might be taken away forever soon. What? What? The fact of the matter is we might have to watch The Mandalorian Season 4 on a different streaming platform. That's how bad things are at Disney right now. This is insanity. I never thought we'd get to this point when you have Star Wars and Marvel. It makes no sense. Whatever's going on in the business side of Disney right now is a complete joke, and almost everybody high up, Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, all of those higher up people should be fired. All of them. Clean house. Whatever they're doing up there is clearly not working if they're losing millions upon millions of dollars every single month with easily the most profitable two brands right now in Marvel and Star Wars. It's a disaster. It's really a disaster. Freak Z says, the writers strike back. Revenge of the actors. Yeah. Hopefully, in a few weeks, we'll be looking back at this and just laughing. Like, both strikes are over. We're perfectly fine. Blah, blah, blah. The actors got what they wanted. The writers got what they wanted. Kathleen Kennedy's gone. I mean, hopefully all this comes true. As of right now, it's a real dark time. Everything in Hollywood has stopped. Everything. It's crazy. This could cause for massive delays for the Rey movie, for Dave Filoni's movie, for James Mangold's movie, for The Mandalorian Season 4, for Andor Season 2, for The Bad Batch Season 3, for Tales of the Jedi Season 2. All of this could be extremely delayed. It could come to the point where the only show we get next year is The Acolyte. Yeah. The sounds really cool Sith-centered show that'll be the first ever live-action thing in the High Republic. It sounds so cool, but then the showrunner, Leslie Headland, comes out, craps on the creator, George Lucas himself, craps on the prequel trilogy, craps on everybody. that might be the only show we get next year. If this actor strike and writer strike go on for months, which you might say, Mike, that's crazy. There's no way it goes on for months. But the writer strike has been going on for 75 days. 75 days. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. This could go on for a long, long time. You have people in Hollywood saying, we'll just wait till they run out of money. We'll wait till these writers just run out of money and have to sell their homes. What? This is wild. It's like the wild, wild west out there. I don't know what's going on, but I kind of want to join in on the fun. Should we have a strike here? Should I have like... Never mind. We won't have a strike here. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Never mind. All right, let's read this article too. Wait, what the heck? I just exited out of it by accident. Here we go. Wait, what? What is this? Here, let's read this. This is a bit of a good news here. Actually, no. We're going to read that Acolyte thing first. We're reading the Acolyte thing first. Wait, where'd it go? Where is the... Oh, here we go. Let's read the Acolyte thing, because it might be the only show we get next year. First of all, Psycho says, finally, everything was looking up for Lucasfilm at Star Wars Celebration 2023, and now strikes that derail everything. It's true. We had a Star Wars Celebration this year that made everything look great. The Ahsoka show looked great. The Skeleton Crew show looked great. The Acolyte show looked great. The 3 movies that were announced, awesome. And now we got this. Now we got to deal with the CEO of the company talking out of his ass. We got to deal with the fact that Kathleen Kennedy, for some reason, has just got something on this company that she just can't be fired. And we have to deal with the fact that the writers and actors are both on strike. What a great time. All right, let's read this article about the Acolyte. Now, the Acolyte probably should not be affected by this. It is done filming, I do believe. Star Wars is Disney Plus Star Wars. The Acolyte will have record-breaking Jedi cast. The upcoming Star Wars Disney Plus series, The Acolyte, will contain record-breaking Jedi cast. Didn't I just say that? One thing that makes up the upcoming series so unique, aside from being set during the High Republic prior to the prequel trilogy, is that it's mostly told from the point of view of the Sith, which many of us have just been waiting for years and years and years. While stories in the franchise are often shared from the perspective of the Jedi, this time it'll be a little different. However, while the villains might be the leads, fans should expect the show to skimp out, should not expect the show to skimp out on including Jedi in the project. After all, the Jedi Order is at an extreme high at this point in the timeline. In that fact, the series will not ignore. The Acolyte will have lots of Jedi. While speaking with Dagobah Dispatch podcast, the Acolyte showrunner Leslie Headland. Should we get Leslie Headland on the show? Does anybody can anybody get Leslie Headland on the show? Hey, call Leslie Headland. Yeah, call her up. See if she can get over here real quick before this stream's over. Yeah. Leslie, yeah. I want to have a few choice words with her. Thank you. No, right now. Call her. Put her on speakerphone. Leslie, you suck. Okay, here we go. Talking about an upcoming Disney Plus series while teasing the amount of Jedi in the series will contain. Headlands first teased that the project will be the earliest in the Star Wars timeline than we've ever been in live action. So here's what she said. I would say The Acolyte stands out because it is the earliest in the Star Wars timeline that we've ever been in live action. We are towards the end of the High Republic, which is so strange. Why are we starting at the end of the High Republic? It makes no sense at all. Let's go to the High Republic. When should we start? Oh, let's start at the end. Okay, here we go. George, leading into the prequels. George Lucas's prequels. So, We are looking at a time period where the Jedi are at the height of their power. We are looking at the time period where there is peace throughout the galaxy, and it is very challenging and interesting to make a Star Wars with no war in it. Honestly, that's a bad pitch, Leslie. Bad pitch. To make it even more unique, the story will be... all right, here's what she also says. Though the question became, well, what should the show be about if not going to be about a galactic conflict? Interesting. And I think that that's what makes this show different and interesting, is that it's from the perspective of the bad guys or the villains of Star Wars. These are people who are using the Force in their own way, dipping into the dark side of the Force, and are doing it without being sanctioned by a larger institution, which is the case of the Jedi. And I think that Star Wars is always about some sort of underdog versus the institution. Okay, she's keeping it clean here. I'll give her that. She probably saw online that people crapped all over her about her comments about George Lucas and stuff like that. So she's keeping it clean here, which is nice. Thanks, Leslie. But okay. She then confirms that the Acolyte will have more Jedi than we've ever seen in any other Star Wars content. So here's where this gets interesting. You guys have seen Attack of the Clones, right? Attack of the Clones, episode 2? Yeah? You've seen that? Yeah? Attack of the Clones has quite a few Jedi in it. If you can remember, the Battle of Geonosis has many, many Jedi in that stadium. Now, Leslie is claiming that this show will have more Jedi than that. Now, I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying that's a whole lot of Jedi. So, and I just thought it was very interesting to do a show about the bad guy and set during this time period made the most sense. So I think that's what sets it apart. It's kind of almost flipped. We have more Jedi than you have seen in any other Star Wars content. So she talks about how this is all focused on the Sith, but also there's more Jedi than we've ever seen. Well, there might be more Jedi. The series is also focused on more morally ambiguous characters than audiences have seen in Star Wars content. So she's pretty much just saying that this is going to be the best show, most morally ambiguous characters, most Jedi, most this, most that, most this, first ever Sith-centered show. It's the first ever thing in High Republic in live action. It's the earliest live action project. She's trying to hype it up. And honestly, I'm hyped. The Acolyte show... I'm so conflicted on it, but we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so here's what she said. But at the same time, I think you will see more morally ambiguous characters than we've seen in any other Star Wars content. And I think I can say this pretty confidently. I don't think you're going to see action in other shows the way that you will see it used and utilized in this show. That's very interesting. With such a focus on record-breaking amounts of Jedi in the show, could fans end up seeing a scene with more Jedi than they'll see in the final battle of Attack of the Clones? Again, lots of Jedi here, and there's a lot more than just even that picture. The many Jedi of the High Republic. So, at least 8 new Jedi actors are already confirmed to appear in the upcoming series. 8 is a lot of Jedi, but not nearly as much as was at the Battle of Geonosis, most of which remain unnamed. Some of these actors include Amanda Steinberg, Li Zhangcha, Carrie Ann Moss, Daphne Keane, Dean Charlie Chapman, and Charlie Bennett. Easy for me to say. At least 2 new Jedi's names include Jonas Stutzer, Wookiee named Master Kelnaka, and Rebecca Henderson's Vernestra Rowe, who first appeared in Phase 1 of the High Republic books. I actually do remember this girl in the High Republic books. But that means we're getting actual High Republic characters from those books in this show, which is actually kind of cool. Star Wars certainly isn't a stranger to the Jedi, but many stories do tend to focus on small groups of Force users instead of the larger quantity. Even the prequel trilogy, where Jedi were abundant, only put focus on Obi-Wan and Anakin, with brief moments given to others like Mace and Yoda. Similarly, the High Republic boasts thousands upon thousands of active Jedi simultaneously, potentially the most ever active at once in live-action project. So it makes sense for a story in the era to be filled to the brim with members of the Order. There is no release window for the Acolyte, but fans expect it to come out in 2024. I think it'll be early 2024, but that's just, again, is just speculation for now. So let me see where you guys are at with the Acolyte show. Are we excited for the Acolyte show? It's a Sith-centered show. It's the first ever thing to be in the High Republic. It's the earliest live-action content we've ever seen. Are you excited for the Acolyte show? What do we think? Yes or no? And why? So Acolyte Gus says, finally everything was... Oh, I already said that. Why start at the end? Yeah, why start at the end of the High Republic? It makes zero sense at all. Now, the High Republic books actually go all over the place. Phase 1 is like in one spot. Phase 2 is before Phase 1, and Phase 3 is after Phase 1. It's weird. But, yeah, it's weird. Saw the Clone Wars in the theaters. Really? That's cool. When did Clone Wars come out? 2002? 2002? Yeah, 2002, right? Yeah, I was born in 2002, so I was not in the theater. No. No, I was not. No, I was not. Here's my thing with the Acolyte show. I'm so conflicted on this show. I really am. I was really excited for the show before Leslie Headland opened her stupid mouth. Now, here's the thing. It's a Sith-centered show. It has so many Jedi in it. It's going to be in the High Republic. It's going to take place before the prequel trilogy. It could have Yoda involved, and it could involve Darth Plagueis. It could involve all this cool stuff. Sounds awesome. Sounds like a freaking dream. But then you have Leslie Headland being the showrunner. This girl who comes out and says all this ridiculous stuff, crapping on George Lucas, crapping on the prequel trilogy, even though she's making a product that comes out before the prequel trilogy and supposed to lead into the prequel trilogy. It's ridiculous. I honestly hate when people do this. Producers, showrunners, whatever you want to call them, Kathleen Kennedy's, presidents of the company, come out and open their stupid mouths. It's just a bad idea. Who cares what you have to say about anything? Shut up. They should all just take notes. They should really all just take notes from this stream, but also from just Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige only talks about the good things about his products, doesn't open his mouth about anything else. Sure, he's said a few weird things through the years, but he's been a producer for 25 plus years in Marvel. They should just take notes. If you got nothing good to say, then don't say it at all. Especially if you're creating a Star Wars project and you're talking about the creator of Star Wars. I don't know. I don't know. I go back and forth on the Acolyte show. I don't know. I don't know. The Acolyte show. Damn it. And here's the problem. The Acolyte could be the only show we get next year. If everything else is delayed because of this stupid-ass strike. This is a disaster. Where was it? I had this other article we were going to go into. Hang on. Actually, let's talk about this. Why not? I don't usually do this, but let's do it. Boom, 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 boom. Let's all go follow me on Twitter, of course. But let's take a look at this. Posted this today. So, I still can't believe Luke's transformed from this into this. And of course, Luke in The Mandalorian Season 2, and then Luke in The Last Jedi, right? Boom, right there. See? Yeah. You see that? So my question to you guys is, do you think it's even possible for them to fix Luke's character? What do we think? And by the way, I'm looking over here at the trending. Boba Fett is now trending right now. Mark Hamill is trending right now. And the Marvels is trending right now. I wonder why Boba's trending right now. Boba Fett? Why is Boba trending? Do we know? Oh, it's probably because Tamara Morrison said that thing the other day. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit too after this. But what do we think? Is it possible to fix the character of Luke Skywalker? Is this something that they could do? Is this even a possibility? What do we think? Luke Skywalker. Or Jake Skywalker. Or the Hermit. Or The Last Jedi. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What do we think? Oops. What do we think? The Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker. Can it be fixed? Swagger Like Us says, I like the inclusion of various Jedi. However, I will reserve judgment on the Acolyte. Is it going to suck? Are they going to push agendas? What is the general tone, direction, writing quality, directing? Yeah, it's true. The Acolyte is kind of just a sit and wait type thing. Are they going to push their agendas? Is it going to suck? Are they going to try to put this weird stuff into it? Remains to be seen. We don't know. We don't know. Freak Zeke, no. Freak Zeke, you like the sequels, right? Or am I mistaken? Swagger Like Us says, speaking of the strike, now I'm glad that Star Wars Outlaws is coming out soon. That will help hold us fans until the madness is over. That's true. We'll be getting that game too next year, so that'll be another Star Wars project, I suppose. Yeah, that's true. I don't think that'll be affected by actor strike, for sure. Freak Zeke says, good old green milk from its source. Yeah. I think it is possible for them to fix Luke Skywalker. I do. I think if anybody could do it, it is Dave Filoni. Especially if Luke Skywalker is one of the main characters of his movie. I think he could do it. I think the fall of a character like Luke Skywalker is possible. However, it has to be done correctly. And I don't know. I go back and forth on this all the time. If Luke Skywalker could be fixed, how would you do it? Now I'm asking you guys, but I'm also asking myself. How would you fix Luke Skywalker? To get from who we see in the Book of Boba Fett training Grogu to who we see in The Last Jedi? How would you get from one to the other? What's the plan? How would you do that? Swagger Like Us says, I hate Luke in the sequel era. I love the OG Luke and the Mandoverse because that's the version I wanted. Okay, Swagger, I get that you hate the sequel era Luke, but do you think it's possible that one could turn into the other? It seemed so outrageous that Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi was the way that he was because of Luke in the original trilogy. His dad, who was a Sith Lord who killed thousands upon thousands of people as Darth Vader, he still saw the good in him and would not strike him down. And that same guy just went into hiding because his nephew was angry, so he almost killed him. Doesn't really make much sense to me. Think of Wolverine, a hero turned hermit in Logan. But here's the thing with Wolverine. Wolverine was a hero. Yes, like you said. But he wasn't a Luke Skywalker level hero. He wasn't a guy. He was kind of like a, screw you guys, I'm doing my own thing. Like even with the X-Men, he didn't want to be a member of the X-Men. There's a funny scene in X-Men First Class where they go to Logan at the bar and he just says, fuck you. But the thing with Logan is he's always been like that. He's always been a loner type of guy, and it's just been a completely different thing. Luke Skywalker, on the other hand, he's always been the see the good in everybody. He's always been the hero that wouldn't strike the Emperor down. He's always the hero that saw the good in his dad. He's always the hero that did those things. The Luke Skywalker you see in The Last Jedi is a completely different person. Even Mark Hamill says he's Jake Skywalker. It's a completely different person. He never would have tried to kill his nephew in his sleep because he saw that he had a bad dream. It's not Luke Skywalker. However, I think there is some way that they could get from one to the next. There is a way where Luke could get to that point where he's so paranoid that Ben is going to rise up. Something crazy would have had to happen. Palpatine had to be messing with him. Something wild. And I think Dave Filoni could do that. However, it would have to be very, very good and explained very, very well to get all these fans, because there's millions upon millions of them that hate The Last Jedi, to even be open to the possibility of Luke Skywalker turning into that character that we see in The Last Jedi. And I'm sure there's many of us, or many of you guys, that are like, there's no way I will ever believe that the sequels are canon. There's no way that I'll ever believe that Luke Skywalker could turn into that person. And that's your opinion, and that's perfectly fine. But I do think there are a lot of people who are open to the idea of maybe it's possible. And if Dave Filoni's at the helm, I'm all for it. Brandon Altman says, there is a thought that Luke was that way after his wife Mara Jade was killed. So Mara Jade is an interesting point. Mara Jade has been brought up in rumors recently about possibly appearing in the Ahsoka show or in Dave Filoni's movie. Now, if Mara Jade comes into canon Star Wars, that changes a whole lot. Now, for those of you who don't know who Mara Jade is, she is, in Legends at least, the wife to Luke Skywalker. Now, the sequel trilogy made us seem like Mara Jade didn't exist. However, she could have come into the canon, married Luke Skywalker. They could have had a full-on, 20-ish year life together, and then she could have died. And maybe that's what turned him into a hermit, and that's what Brendan is saying. That is possible. I would not be opposed to that. Mara Jade is a very, very cool and in-depth character in Legends. She starts off as a villain, the hand of the Emperor, turns into a good guy because falls in love with Luke Skywalker. She's a great character. However, that'll be tough to do. That'll be tough to pull off, but it would please a lot of fans. So when you're trying to please the fans, bringing in a character that is a fan favorite character from the Legends novels, Mara Jade, would not be the worst idea. Swagger Like Us says, Logan Wolverine was great though. Well, yeah, he was. True. True. Brandon follows up and says, it hasn't been told, but it was a rumor that would make sense if he was depressed and down. Yeah, I think a lot of things could come into that. You could have Mara Jade be brought in and killed. You could have Snoke come in and somehow, if they get Luke's blood or his midichlorians or something like that, like they were doing with Grogu, then they could recreate Luke Skywalker, or maybe even bring back the Emperor, or make Force sensitives or something along those lines, and Luke knows about that, so he has to go cut himself off from the Force. If multiple things, Mara Jade, cloning, Ben Solo turning to the dark side, this, that, the other thing, if all these things are just spiraling out of control and Luke Skywalker can't handle any of it, and then he just breaks and snaps, and that's when he tries to kill Ben Solo, then you're talking about something that I can get behind. Then you're talking about something that maybe even the whole entire fandom can get behind. Luke Skywalker snapping because so much is going wrong. That might be something that would be cool. And I'm sure a lot of you would probably be open to that. But as of right now, it stands that Luke Skywalker saw that Ben Solo had a bad dream. And that's about it. So until those things happen, Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi is a joke. Freakseek says, okay, he was more Han, actually. Wolverine? Yeah. Wolverine was a lot like Han. Logan? He is. Yeah. The similarities there are a lot closer. Yeah. Swagger says, I remember leaving a negative comment on Vanity Fair's YouTube when Kathleen announced episode 7 in 2012. 99.9% of the comments were against an F-directed sequel to Return of the Jedi. No one listened. Yeah, the sequel trilogy could have been good, for sure, if it was George Lucas's idea, if they went the route of Darth Maul in the underworld and Luke actually having the Jedi Temple and stuff like that. If they actually went that route, I think it would have been a lot better. However, the way that they went with Rey and Finn and Poe and Kylo Ren and Jake Skywalker, just kill Han off, just kill Leia off, just kill Luke off, It's not the way to go, for sure. Freak Zeke says, saw these really good sequel written episode 7 and 8 by a channel called Prism. You should do a reaction. You should react in thoughts. Well, how long is the video? Let's see. YouTube. Prism, you say? Sequels. Prism. Let's see. Well, that didn't work. Trilogy. Prism. 25 minutes. Yeah, we're not going to react to that. That's way too long. What if Star Wars The Force Awakens was awesome? That's a pretty good name, though. I was thinking about doing something along those lines, like rewriting the sequels or something like that. That would be kind of cool. But I feel like, I don't know. Should we read this article? Let's read this article. I had this article pulled up at the beginning of the stream, and we just completely skipped right over it, but we're going back. Okay? All right, this comes from Screen Rant. We're talking about Ahsoka pays off Easter eggs and connects to beloved 20-year-old Star Wars story. So, the new trailer in the upcoming Ahsoka pays off an Easter egg found in Andor. Oh, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. That's better. All well linked to the beloved Star Wars story from 2 decades ago. As is the case with every Star Wars property, Ahsoka is chock full of Easter eggs and references to the wider universe. It was evident. Sorry, something just popped up. I just got an email and I thought it was important. It was evident this was going to be the case when it was revealed that Ahsoka was essentially acted as a sequel to Star Wars Rebels, or Star Wars Rebels Season 5, as a lot of people liked to call it, meaning the former would have plenty of connections and references to the latter, meaning Rebels is going to be heavily connected to Ahsoka, but that, of course, is obvious. These Easter eggs continue in the Ahsoka official trailer, which offered the best look at the upcoming show yet. From the first official look at Lars Mikkelsen as Grand Admiral Thrawn, to many connections to Anakin Skywalker, to actual mentions of Anakin Skywalker in the trailer, Ahsoka's Easter eggs came thick and fast in the new trailer. However, one connection to 2 other Star Wars properties is found in the Ahsoka trailer and is hidden much more effectively than the overt references to the wider Star Wars canon. So, Ahsoka's star map, this is kind of crazy, looks like Rakatan technology. So, who are the Rakatan? So, there was a Rakatan Empire, and this was referred to in Andor very briefly, like very, very briefly. I feel like Andor wasn't really connected to all that many other Star Wars projects, but it did refer to the Rakatan Empire. So, the Rakata were a gigantic empire at one point that pretty much took over the entire Star Wars galaxy. Now, they came from a beyond the unknown regions, I believe. They came from beyond the unknown regions. They're an ugly looking species. They have like a weirdly shaped head. Well, maybe we'll pull. There might be a photo of them in the article here. But they took control of the entire galaxy before the Sith and the Jedi were really a thing. Before hyperspace travel was a thing. Before really planets were connected to each other at all. There was no real space travel for the most part. So the Rakatan Empire kind of grew pretty easily. And they only got destroyed because I think there was a whole planet of Sith, and I believe that they fought back, or I forget, how did the Rakatan Empire fall? I'm completely blanking on it. Somebody else help me out on that. But they were this huge empire, and they were ruling over the whole galaxy for a long, long time. Now, they've been referred to in many different media for Star Wars, in video games, in novels, in Andor. So maybe this star map is also referring to them. Now, this is from the game Knights of the Old Republic, I believe. Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic. And this is from the Ahsoka trailer, so let's read this. The element of the Ahsoka trailer in question is the star map used by Morgan Elsbeth, which actually links to Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, a video game released in 2003, 20 years ago. And the villain of the Ahsoka trailer, Elsbeth, Shin, and Balin, are shown using the star map in order to find Thrawn, which projects itself in a spherical shape around the trio. The connection to the Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic, is found in this projection of the star map, with the design looking strikingly similar to the Rakatan technology from the game. So here's the thing, like I said, the Rakatan come from a different galaxy, kind of. They come from a different spot outside of the Star Wars galaxy. Now, what have we heard about the rumors of the Ahsoka show? We're going to this unknown space in the Star Wars galaxy called the New Beyond. Now, this Knights of the Old Republic game is still Legends material, technically. It's not canon Star Wars. But the Rakatan Empire is canon Star Wars. It's mentioned in Andor. So, if the Rakata are canon, that means that maybe Dave Filoni is going to not only tie them in via the Ahsoka show in the New Beyond, but also maybe possibly bring them in, because we're going to the Dawn of the Jedi next with James Mangold. We're going to the Old Republic, I'm sure, at some point. So maybe they will go to the point in time where the Rakata take over the entire galaxy. Maybe they do the Rakatan Empire, and maybe, just maybe, Dave Filoni himself is going to do it. And at first, he's going to reference it and explore this space where they come from, called the New Beyond, in the Ahsoka show first. Explain where Thrawn and Ezra went, explain where the Night Sisters come from, and it will explain where the Rakata come from. Kind of crazy stuff, but are you with me so far? I know this is a lot. It's absolutely bonkers, but are we with me so far? The possibility of Dave Filoni bringing in the Rakatan Empire through the Ahsoka show, and then maybe even going back in time and actually giving us the Rakatan Empire is absolutely wild. But I read on. In Knights of the Old Republic, the Rakata were a race that developed very early in galactic history. A group of Force users known to exclusively utilize the dark side. The Rakatans formed an infinity empire and instilled their cannibalistic will over the galaxy. In Knights of the Old Republic, one of the elements of the game was the Rakatan star map, which was presented with a very similar design to the star map used by Elsbeth in the Ahsoka trailer. So, Star Wars has been setting up Knights of the Old Republic Rakata since Andor. Now, here's the thing. Tony Gilroy makes Andor, and he has said time and time again that he's not really a Star Wars fan, he doesn't really care, blah, 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 blah. He's probably not the guy throwing in these Easter eggs. He's not the guy who's putting in the Star Killer mask in the background. He's not the guy putting in this kyber crystal from the Rakatan Empire. He's not doing any of that. But someone is, and I'd love to believe that that is Dave Filoni. I'd love to believe that some guy named Dave Filoni is putting all these cool things into Star Wars projects and building up towards something epic. Or building backwards to something epic. But this is from the Andor show. We all remember this, right? We all remember this from the Andor show, this kyber crystal that was given to Cassian. And it's from the Rakatan Empire. The connections between Ahsoka and the wider Star Wars properties do not stop there, though, as the link of the Rakatan technology also provides a through line to Andor. In Andor Episode 4, Luthen gives Cassian a kyber crystal and states that it is from the ancient era that celebrates the uprising against the Rakatan invaders. This is another Easter egg to the Knights of the Old Republic and officially canonizes the Rakata in Star Wars after the race was previously only part of non-canon legends. This Easter egg in Andor, when combined with the other one in Ahsoka, could hint at the Rakatans being a big part of Star Wars' future/past. The Rakatan in Star Wars Legends formed their empire in 30,000 BBY. So that is tens of thousands of years before the prequel trilogy, which could also hint at James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie involving the Rakata in some way that is set 5,000 years after this point. While this is unlikely, the Easter egg found in Ahsoka and Andor are neat ways of tying wider Star Wars legends into canon. Well, you know Dave Filoni, he always says Legends material is just open real estate, free real estate, and he wants to involve it as much as he can. So bringing in the Rakatan Empire would be insanity, especially that James Mangold is going to the Dawn of the Jedi, and why not go to the Rakatan Empire as well? This star map thing makes sense. There's no reason for Dave Filoni to involve a star map like that looks almost exactly the same as the star map from Knights of the Old Republic that is a Rakatan Empire star map. There's no reason for him to do that. He knows what he's doing. This guy's a fucking genius. He knows what he's doing. Dave Filoni's the GOAT. That's all I gotta say. So I says, I don't mind a hermit Luke, but Last Jedi basically turned his legend into a washed-up imposter. I didn't like how he threw the lightsaber. I didn't like Luke being a cynical and pessimistic. Yeah, me either. Honestly, I hated the Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. When he throws the lightsaber over his shoulder is the biggest joke and the biggest disgrace to Star Wars history ever. But I think it's possible. I do think it's possible that they could connect the two and make that Luke Skywalker make a little bit more sense, at least. Just a little bit. But what do we think about the Rakatan Empire? What do we think about Dave Filoni possibly tying in the Rakatan Empire, but also setting them up via this new Beyond, via this star map, and actually giving us hints and clues to this new space outside the Star Wars galaxy that could involve Rakata, Night Sisters, people using the Force in different ways than we've ever seen before. All this madness, opening up this huge, new, cool part of the Star Wars galaxy that we've never seen before. What do we think about that? Swagger Like Us says, I love the Rakatan Empire being explored in canon. It's going to be awesome, honestly. I really hope they do when they go back to the Dawn of the Jedi. If you're going back 25,000 years to the Dawn of the Jedi, why not go 30,000 years to the Rakatan Empire? Why not? Why not? Huh. The more you know. Is there any other news going on right now? I feel like it's a slow news day other than the fact that fucking Hollywood is crashing and burning and Bob Iger's speaking out of his ass, but we talked about all that. We talked about all that, sadly. I got nothing over here on my end. All people are talking about is Bob Iger and this strike. And it makes sense. It's big, big news, but I don't know. Sorry, Dion. Whoops. Swagger Like Us says, hopefully we start to see more variety in content like that. Well, yeah. If you're going to the Mandalorian time period, if you're going to post-sequel time period, if you're going to Dawn of the Jedi time period, and you're going to High Republic time period, you got a lot of stuff to talk about. That's for sure. So you got a lot of different storylines going all at the same time. It would be great. Star Wars is such a crazy big universe. So many great legends, stories, the Dawn of the Jedi, the Old Republic, the Knights of the Old Republic stuff. There's no lack of content. I always think back to when Kathleen Kennedy said, we don't have 75 years of comics to go back to. Hey, stupid. You got so much Legends material that fans absolutely adore. So yeah, you do. Fire Bob Iger. I'm down for it. Let's do it. Fire Bob Iger. Fire Kathleen Kennedy. Clean house. Clean house. That's all I gotta say. Your Rofic Nightmare? I'm just gonna call you Nightmare, buddy. Nightmare, what's up? Says extreme weather systems such as heat waves will be named from now on. Zoe was the first. The more you know. What? Oh, extreme heat waves are being named now? Zoe was the first. Zoe without the Y. Why would they start on Z? That makes no sense. What? Speaking of the strike, this hurts Tales of the Jedi Season 2. Yeah, definitely does. Tales of the Jedi Season 2 is going to be awesome, and I certainly hope that it involves two very cool Jedi. And of course, I'd love to ask this question. What two Jedi do you guys want to see in Tales of the Jedi Season 2? There we go, we can talk about that. But I hope it doesn't get delayed. I hope nothing gets delayed. I hope this strike gets done and over with in a couple days. But as of right now, it does not look too good. Does not look too good. Does not look too good. And back to the heat wave thing. When's this heat wave over? It's too hot. I'm like sweating down here. It's usually cool down here, and I'm sweating. Right off the bat, I'll give you my two top picks for Tales of the Jedi. And they are very, very, very likely scenarios. That's what I'm going for, is likely choices. Because I could say like Darth Revan, or Revan as a Jedi, I guess. Revan as a Jedi and like somebody crazy like Ben Solo or something. But I think the two best choices are Yoda and Luke Skywalker. First of all, you could go Luke Skywalker when he goes on his adventures post-original trilogy, or you could go Luke Skywalker in between episodes 5 and 6 as he learns to become a Jedi Master and crafts his lightsaber. And with Yoda, you could go either before the prequel trilogy, or you could go to when he becomes a Force ghost again and kind of explore that a little bit more. There's just endless possibilities when it comes to the two characters, Yoda and Luke. Yeah. Zoe is from Spain. Really? Well, she sounds... Get it? She sounds hot because it's a heat wave comedy. Swaggerliga says, I would love to see Yoda's master training Padawan Yoda. Wow. Yoda's master? What was his name again? I completely forget. He's like the weird looking dude. And Yoda actually talks like the way he does because he talks the same way as his master did. That'd be cool. I don't know if they'd go that far back with Yoda. I think they would go like to the High Republic maybe. Maybe they'll do High Republic Jedi in the Tales of the Jedi stuff. I don't know. That'd be awesome. Yeah, it would be awesome if they did Yoda and Luke. Here's the thing. Star Wars Outlaws takes place in between episode 5 and 6. Most of the Star Wars comic books take place in between episode 5 and 6, like the War of the Bounty Hunter stuff. So why not do a Tales of the Jedi in between 5 and 6 and focus on Luke? You know? It's another slow news day. Another slow news day for sure. So I think we're going to get on out of here. I think that's all we got to cover, and I'm kind of bummed out about this whole stupid-ass freaking strike and Bob Iger being stupid, and Kathleen Kennedy's still not fired, and I'm upset. But Ahsoka's right around the corner, so we still got a bunch of things to look forward to, and hopefully this strike is over with and done soon. Nightmare says, do you think Lucas intended the Jedi Code no attachments was meant to be bent, or is that just a Kathleen Kennedy thing? Well, George did make the Clone Wars and the prequel trilogy, so the no attachment thing was kind of like a strict thing. Like Anakin couldn't bend it with Padme. Even in the Clone Wars, like you see Obi-Wan with Satine. It's kind of the no attachment thing was not really meant to be bent. I don't think. And I think Luke Skywalker was supposed to make a new Jedi Order that learned from the mistakes of the old Jedi Order and was supposed to allow those attachments with Mara Jade and stuff like that, but yeah, the sequel trilogy kind of did not do that. Should Starkiller be canon? No. Simple answer is no, but if they did want to bring him into canon, they would have to take his power level a whole lot further down. He is so overpowered, it's ridiculous. If he was brought into canon the way that he is, that would be insane, and it would just be way too overpowered, and I do not think it would work. No. Definitely not. Maybe if they brought... yeah, see, but no. Starkiller's thing is he's trained by Vader, so he would have to already kind of exist, you know? Balanced attachment, yes. Balanced attachment, yeah, true. Balanced attachment, yes. And in Luke's new Jedi Order, I mean, it would be a lot different. Yeah. Yeah. All right, I do have to get on out of here, though, guys. You guys are the absolute best for sticking around with me. Of course, watch out for a video tomorrow about a dark side Ezra. Oh, wait, I'm giving you guys a sneak peek at this. You guys have to see. You have to see this, okay? I just made this thumbnail. Come on, load. All right, here we go. I made this thumbnail. This thumbnail is probably the greatest thumbnail I've ever made in my life. Here we go. Check this out. All right, this is a video that's coming out most likely tomorrow, if not Monday. So if not tomorrow, it will come out Monday. I'm going to do a premiere again. Those premieres are fun. I get to sit in the chat and talk with you guys during the premiere. So all my videos are going to be premiered now at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is at maybe 6. I'll keep you posted on that. But 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I'm going to premiere these things. And this is the thumbnail for the next video, and it's about, will Ezra show up as a good guy or a bad guy when he shows up in the Ahsoka show? And this is the thumbnail. So will he be dark side Ezra or light side Ezra? Look at that thumbnail. This video is going to be awesome. It took me so long to make this thumbnail. Oh my god. It took me so long. But yes, that is Iman Esfandi turned into Ezra, turned into dark side Ezra. A lot of AI used for the backgrounds, for the... This is crazy. This is definitely the best thumbnail I've ever made, and I'm excited. I'm a little bit excited. So yeah, watch over that video either tomorrow or Monday at 5 and come to the premiere. I'll be in the chat talking to you guys during the premiere. It'll be a lot of fun. So watch out for that. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about that one. Tales of the Jedi Season 2. Is adult Grogu a Mandalorian Jedi 100 years from now? That would be crazy, but I don't think they'll do that in just the Tales of the Jedi. I think they'll save that for a live action project, movie, or something along those lines. I have a theory about Mara Jade. Mandalorian director Bryce Dallas Howard would be cast for the role. She's hot. Bryce Dallas Howard. I know who she is, and I know what she looks like, but as Mara Jade? Bryce Dallas. Mara Jade is redheaded, right? Oh, well, she is too, I guess. Actually, might be able to pull that off. She might be able to pull that off. The red hair definitely helps. But how old is she? She's 42. Yeah, she'd be way too old for Luke at that time. She'd be way too old for Luke. No, 42-year-old Mara Jade meets 22-year-old Luke Skywalker. Or actually, he'd be like 28, 29, I'd guess. Maybe. But she is also a director, so she might not... Well, she is an actor, too. She's in Jurassic World and stuff. Yeah, maybe. Alright, I do think I'm going to get on out of here, but I hope they do Mara Jade in canon, though. Yeah, I do too. Alright, I'm going to get on out of here. You guys are the absolute best. Smash a like on this video, hit subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video, and my pretty face will show up in the recommended feed of yours. And as I always say, may the Force be with you. Always. Where's that stupid button? I hate it. Oh, there it is. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for sticking around, even though it's a short and very little news week. we got a lot to talk about, and we got a lot of fun, cool stuff to talk about, and it's a lot of fun, cool stuff to talk about. Barbecue safely. Don't get drunk, friends. Yes, exactly. I guess. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Have a great rest of your evenings. Have a great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody.